What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stepping Stones Live right here on your Facebook social media feed. Hey, this is the show that brings a little bit of silliness, seriousness, and spirituality to your social media experience. Man, I'm your host, CL Thompson. I couldn't be more blessed to have the opportunity, man, to all of y'all who tune in and week out, who rock with us, man. We get over 200 viewers every single week, and we want that number to go up, up, and up. So right now, if you're watching, I want you to share. I want you to post. I want you to comment. Man, I want this show to go viral. We are all about helping people. And so you can play a major role by, again, sharing, posting, and commenting. We want the world to be blessed by this broadcast. And so thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, if you've been rocking with us, you know all month of January, we have been making war against debt. Or let me just say it like this. We've been trying to help people not be broke. Let's just be real, man. So many people have financial frustration. So many people dealing with money issues. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. So many of us have more month at the end of our money than money at the end of the month. And so, man, our goal is to really change that narrative, to really help you get rid of that. So since the beginning of the year, we have been giving you so many tips to help you get over any financial frustration, get out of debt. And if you've missed any of the shows, you can always go back to www.csteps.org and check out all the shows that we've had before this. I'm telling you, you will be blessed. Even if you go back to the episode 1 all the way up until now, episode 11, you will be blessed. But if you want those financial tips, episodes 9 and 10 and now 11 are the ones that you want to watch. We've been giving great tips. And today we've got some wonderful special guests. We've got returning guests, Prophese, who's a member of the Conquering Steps team. She is definitely going to bless you. And then also coming back is Isaiah Goodman, our financial expert, who will be with us today as we focus on some specific things when it comes to finance. So keep it locked because you don't want to miss what's going on. But before we do any of that, man, I got to tell y'all, I am so excited about this Saturday, man. You've heard about it. You've seen it. You've seen promo videos. It is almost time to make war. Many of you, if you're new watching and you don't know what Make War is, our company has a theme this year titled Make War. And people have been asking, they're like, hey, what is Make War all about, Pastor? What is Make War? Let me tell you what Make War is. I noticed that there had been a theme going around that people are murmuring about all this stuff, man, murmuring about bad relationships, murmuring about being broke, murmuring about addiction, murmuring. Everybody been talking, but nobody's really doing anything about it. And so, man, it was my vision that this year that we're going to help people make war against everything they've been talking about, because a lot of people know they have an issue, but they don't know how to deal with the issue that they're dealing with. So we will be making war, and this Saturday, January 27th, is the kickoff event. Man, I've got my entire team that will be there. So it is going to be an amazing event. Tickets are $10 if you prepay. And if you want to get a ticket to Make War, you can visit our website, csteps.org, and get your ticket. You can go to Eventbrite and type in Make War, get your ticket $10. There will be tickets available at the door, but tickets at the door will be $15. Let me tell you why it's worth the price of admission. Number one, I met with my entire team last night, and we had like a meeting powwow. And the content that everybody has is just amazing. I was just soaking it all in. I'm like, man, I don't even need to speak, because the content that everybody's bringing is just amazing. We'll be helping you make war against people who are robbing your peace. Wow. We will be helping you make war to get to a level of courage in your life that you can break through and start to identify who you are. We will be making war against having an identity crisis, man. Some of us have been robbed of our identity by things that have been happening in our life. And so all of those things we're going to help make war against. And then, hey, I'm just going to be the cleanup man, and I'm going to tell you what war is and how to effectively win when you wage war against the things in life that are holding you back and holding you and keeping you from being who you are destined to be. So that alone is worth the price of admission. But not only that, man, there's free food. So you come, we've got amazing food that will be there. So we want to feed you. Not only are we going to feed you, there will be a comedy show with funny man Aaron Shute. He's been live at the House of Comedy. He's toured. He will be there to bless us and give us a comedy show. So on top of the comedy show, we're giving away prizes, raffle prizes. We're raffling photo shoots. We are raffling all kinds of material. I'm giving away counseling sessions. We're giving away a laptop. Come on now. So you want to be there just for that. So all of that, this will probably be the best event that you can attend all year until the next Conquering Steps event. So anybody who's ever been to any of our tour seminars know that they are life-changing. Right now, we have room for about 65 people. There are about 30 people on the guest list right now. So there's about 30 tickets left available for purchase. So I encourage you to right now, if you're listening, go to csteps.org, buy your ticket to Make War. You can scroll down, you click Make War, get your ticket. It's at the 508 Lounge and Restaurant downtown Minneapolis. It is going to be an amazing event. And we are just excited to have you and have you come out to just be a part of something that's going to be great. Also, if you can't come, we're asking that you at least contribute to our efforts. You can be a part of helping somebody win battles by contributing financially. We have a goal this year to raise about $5,000 by the end of the year. Our goal is by March 1st to hit that first $1,000 mark. Again, so if you go to csteps.org, you can donate to help us with it, because we're going to be fighting things, not just this event. We're going to be making war against, social injustice. We're going to be making war against a lot of things. And I know there was a little pause there. Hey, no worries. I'll tell you again, since there was a little pause there, we will be making war against social injustice. We will be making war against divorce. We will be making war against addiction. And so you can literally help us out by contributing, whether it be $1 or you want to give the entire $1,000. We want you to make a important donation to help us do that. You can be blessing somebody. We also would like you to do that to help give scholarships to those who can't afford counseling and things like that. So please contribute by going to www.csteps.org. Man, that would be such a blessing, not just to me, but to so many people who are looking to get help this year. Last week I didn't do a wisdom stone, but you guys were like, man, where was the wisdom stone? Where was the wisdom stone? Where was the wisdom stone? Because we had so many guests. But I said today that I didn't know if I was going to do a wisdom stone, but I just want to give you this, and I think this is important. I was this morning, I was just kind of thinking about, our theme of, finance, things of that nature. And one of the things that came to me was, there's two types of transactions that happen at a bank. There are deposits and there are withdrawals. Those are the two major deposits that happen when you go to the bank. So watch this. If you make more withdrawals than you do deposits, guess what? Eventually you'll be broke. And as I was thinking about that, I thought about this morning, what kind of spiritual deposits are you making in your life? Because watch this, deposits are happening every day. I can guarantee you that. The world is making all kinds of deposits, depending on what you watch on media, what you watch on TV, what you're listening to, who's in your ear talking to you. Those are deposits. So if the world, friends, and other things are depositing in you, what are you doing to deposit in your life spiritually? Because I talk to a lot of Christians, I talk to a lot of people, and they're saying, man, I can't find my joy. I can't find my peace. I can't find my happiness. I can't find, the energy to get up, to go, and the unction. And my question is, what have you been depositing in? Because watch this, if you're making more natural deposits than you are spiritual deposits, I can guarantee you won't be able to find it because it's not in your spiritual bank account. And if you don't have it in your spiritual bank account, I guarantee you might be spiritually bankrupt right now. If you listen to all the naysayers, if you're listening to everybody telling you that you can't, if you're watching the news and you're seeing all the drama that's going on, the government shutdown and the bombing of churches, and if you're watching all of that, I can guarantee you there are some negative deposits going in. And so when you reach down on the inside and you try to pull something up, most of the time you're going to pull something up that's negative because that's the only thing that's been deposited. Have you ever noticed that if you listen to a lot of whatever you listen to starts to come out, I used to listen to a whole bunch of ratchet rap music and stuff like that. And then I found myself cursing, swearing, doing all kinds of stuff like that because that's what was deposited in. And so if that what was deposited in, that's what had to come out. And so eventually, when I only started listening to worship and I started listening to more gospel, all of a sudden, when things were happening, I was having a bad day, all of a sudden, a song would spring up in my soul because I had made some spiritual deposits. And so can I suggest to somebody, just with this theme of deposits and withdrawals, that you need to make more spiritual withdrawals in your life than you do natural, because the deposits and withdrawals are going to happen. But when you look in that wellspring of the inside, what are you going to pull out? Are you going to pull out something that's negative, or are you going to pull out something that's powerful? I think I ought to say that again, because you can't be both pitiful and powerful. You got to choose one. And it depends on what you put on the inside that makes the difference in all what you do. So again, make sure you're making the right kind of deposits in your life, because when you make that withdrawal, you want to pull out something that's good, not only for yourself, but you'll be able to help somebody else. Because watch this, sometimes when I go to the bank, I have to pull out some money to give somebody else. And so when people come to you, when you pull something out of your spiritual bank account, what are you giving them? Is it something that's going to bless them, or something that they don't even want? So, man, I just had to get that in and get that out of the way because, you guys said, Pastor Chris, give us something, man. We just want something to hold on to it. So, man, I hope that bless somebody, and if you love that, I encourage you, if you really love hearing these shows and the content, come on Saturday, the 27th. Doors open at 11:30 a.m. Food will be out from 11:30 to 12. We are going to bless you. And so don't take my word for it. Don't just take my word for it. So, right now we have a special guest. She's been a guest before. She has been an amazing blessing in my life. Not only that, she has been a great and wonderful addition to the C Steps team. I had no idea when I met this wonderful woman that she would be such an intricate part of making C Steps what it is, but she has a great message. So like I said, I can talk about Make War all day long, but I want you to hear from somebody that will actually be at the event speaking and blessing you. So without further ado, on the line, we have one of our first special guests of the day, Miss Prophese Fuentes. Prophese, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I know you had a very long night, but you pressed through and you made it on the show today. How's it going?
Blessed. Everything is going well. And, all is going well at home.
That's what's up. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. So last night, Prophese, we had a full staff meeting. We met to go over content. I don't know about you, but when I left that meeting, I'm probably more excited about anybody than Saturday. How did you feel after we left that meeting last night?
I'm going to join you in that as well. I was so excited. Just the fact that we all came together, how we did initially, and then we all did our individual work, and seeing us come together, how it just seemed and fit together, how we all complemented each other in the work that we're going to be doing for Make War. It is so breathtaking and exciting.
Yeah, and I was so impressed with the hard work that I can tell every one of you guys put in to come up with the content. So since you're going to be one of the keynote speakers at the Make War event, tell us a little bit about what you will be helping people make war against and why it's important to you that they need to recognize this.
Wow. So I am so excited to be introducing Make War with peace robbers.
Mm,
Peace robbers. Those that rob your peace, the things that rob your peace, that could be a person. It could be a thing, which is a distraction. It could be an environment. It could be your work.
mm,
Anything that takes away your peace. That is what I'm going to bring to everyone. And, here's also what I'm excited about. And I want to say this because it's not just that I am going to be speaking with, you and Siobhan and Mike, but it's also because I'm going to be amongst a whole group of people who have the same like mind, that we're ready to go out to war. We're beyond the fact of, hey, this is what makes me feel like this. I can't understand why this is going on. No, we are all ready to make war. We have people who say that they're sick and tired of this, sick and tired of that. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there's no medication for that. You can't get a prescription. The prescription actually starts with you. And the one thing that I'll give away is that we are all individuals here, and we're assigned for something. We have a destiny. We have a purpose. And that was assigned to us by God himself. So when you're in that happy zone and you recognize that, you know what, this is what I'm born to do. This is the anointing that I have. What happens that you lose that fire? What happens that momentum is just halted? The peace robbers, right? You have people in your ear telling you, you know, you're never going to make it. Or if I were you, this is what I would do. Or, you know, just anything. Or that crab mentality. Oh, boy, let me not get on that. I mean, you're just going to have to come and hear that for yourself.
Wow. You said something so powerful. There is no prescription for, being sick and tired. There is no prescription for that. The only prescription for that is you and you taking action against that. So what is it that, because when I gave you guys the kind of freedom and the privilege to make war against whatever you want to make war against in your topic, what was it that you felt led you to that specific thing, the peace robbers?
You know what? At some point in your life, you start evaluating, kind of like you're on a hamster wheel, and that wheel is just spinning and spinning and spinning. And at some point, you're going to realize, I need to get off and to see exactly what am I missing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not about, it's so obvious, but we tend to just get focused on the actual things that are happening, but we don't get off that wheel to see how are they happening. Let's dig to the root of that. And if you're allowing, and I'm preaching to myself here, okay, let's say that first. But I'm telling you, sometimes we realize that things are happening and we allow them to happen. We're allowing them to happen, and there's one thing, and then there's another thing, and then there's another thing, and everything gets so compounded that we just don't know what happened. We lose our focus on the goals that we started out with. We lose our sense of self, our sense of purpose. And when you take a look at it, and you know me, and a lot of people that know me know that I love writing, I love journaling, I love just going through my days. But when you take a look at that, a lot of times it's those peace robbers. And let me tell you now, a peace robber could even be yourself.
Wow.
Okay? A peace robber can even be yourself, because you can also become your own peace robber by allowing these things to eventually happen. Now, what I do want to tell everyone is I'm not going to give you permission to go out and start rifling at everybody else and everything that's causing you to disturb your peace. But what I am saying is you need to take a stand and trust, number one, that God has given you a purpose. Mm-hmm. Believe in that purpose. It certainly isn't what you see. So what you know God has told you, the enemy knows how to just put things before you and make it seem as if you're crazy, but you're not. Because if God himself breathed those things in you, if he sealed his instructions to you, then you need to go on marching and make war with anything that comes your way.
Absolutely. And you've got something very unique and very special for those who attend. You will be giving away, or raffling, I should say, a very powerful workbook. Tell us a little bit about the workbook and why it's going to be dynamic for the winner who gets that workbook.
Wow. Well, first of all, the winner who gets this will actually be getting the original first manuscript of this workbook. This workbook is called END, E-N-D, and that stands for Enough, No More, Done. Okay? You are already here. You are here to make war. You've had enough of these naysayers. You've had enough of living this way, and you just want no more of it. Not
Mm.
today, not today, not today. You want no more part of it. You don't want it to be a part of your life. It's not assigned to you. It's not yours. And the part that says done is not that it's completely over, because like we talked about, new levels, new devils. But I'm talking about done, meaning it's done. It is finished. You are now into that season to make things happen. Now it depends on you. 50% of the work is on you.
Right.
And so this workbook, how I created this workbook is for the individual to have, a self-reflection. Weed
Mm.
out anything that's going to distract you. We don't need the electronics around us. This is going to be an investment that you make in yourself. It's about 40 pages. There's several steps that you go through. Yes, it's tedious, but aren't you worth it? You are worth it to seriously sit yourself down to see exactly what is going on with your life and be real with yourself. And one of the things that I want to tell the individual and everyone who will be looking at this is take a look at yourself in the mirror. Take a look at yourself in the mirror, not while you're putting makeup on, not while you're brushing your teeth, but stand in front of the mirror in silence for a second and look at yourself how God sees you, not what people are telling you in your ear, not what you are hearing in your thoughts. See how God sees you. Start from there, because you're going to need to weed all those things out to sit down and take moments of reflection, because you need a plan. You need a battle plan, and it starts with God. It starts with loving yourself. And so that's what this workbook is about. It is called End. It is called End.
Enough is enough. No more. And
Yes,
enough is enough.
that's right.
And I think, the key to anything, to the end of anything, is that we have to have enough is enough, whether it be addiction, whether it be a bad relationship, whether it be tired of being broke. We have to get to the point where we say enough is enough. We can easily say it, but have you really made that resolution that enough is enough? That I'm tired of being in this situation. I'm tired of, dealing with the same old thing. And I think it does start with you making the decision to look in the mirror and not point the finger at everybody else and say, what have I done wrong in this? Where can I be better? How can I, do something different? Because, the clinical definition of insanity is if you do the same thing, you'll get if you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. And I think there are a lot of people.
Yeah.
Funny,
Yeah.
I scroll through social media here and there, and I see people, at the end of 2017 saying, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Come 2018, I'm not talking about this, I'm not. And then we're not even 1 month in, and those same people are
Right.
saying the same thing on social media. They're going through the same exact situation, and they are still in the same place. Watch this, because they're in the
Yeah.
same space mentally. They're in the same
Yeah.
place because they're in the same space mentally. And until you can change your mindset and say enough is enough, no more, and I'm done, then it won't happen. And so I got a couple more minutes with you. I want to ask this question. How do you tell someone enough is enough? How do you separate yourself from the people, place, thing, or environment, if you don't mind me asking, to tell them enough is enough? For example, let's say that you have a person that's kind of what I like to call a grapevine sucker. Shameless plug. If you don't know what a grapevine sucker is, get my book, WTF, Where's the Fruit? You will find out what a grapevine sucker is. However, what do you do with that person? How do you tell that person, or, get away from those peace robbers?
Well, and I love that question. Really good question. And I will first say you have to first start with you. And I'm saying that because it's not just a cliche. I'm saying that because you have to develop that peace within you first. If you don't, you are subjecting yourself to negate your character. You're subjecting yourself to put yourself in a position outside of what is you. Meaning, you can't just go to somebody and say, listen, I'm not going to take this no more from you. You can't go to their level. You cannot go to their level. You go up. You go higher. And it starts with staying in your lane. Be be grateful, be humble, and stay there. Because when that person comes to you, and they will, because then they will say, well, weren't you the one that were doing this a couple of days ago? Weren't you the one that used to come around the way with me? You will get that. And if you don't have yourself checked first, you're going to fall for that bait. You're going to fall for that bait. So check yourself first, okay? And then you can do that with people. Okay, you can do that with people and let them know, draw the line in the sand that, I'm not about that life anymore. And if they can't accept it, if all they want to say is criticize, then you already know what the decision is. They made the decision easy for you right then and there. The people who are going to be for you will be for you, for the best of you, not because they wanted, misery loves company is pretty much what I'm trying to say. And if you are somebody who is just trying to get out of that lifestyle or that zone that you were in before, and they see a change in you in that, then the ones that you'll know to get out of your space are the ones who respond in that way.
Wow. Well, Prophecy, I am excited. You got me even more pumped up than I was yesterday getting ready for this Saturday. So for those of you who are listening.
I only gave you a little piece of it, Chris. I'm not going to give you all the goods.
You see what you did? You treated me like when I go to the mall and then they got those samples and they be like, you want orange chicken? And then, you get the orange chicken, and the next thing you know, you buy the number 9. That's what you just did. See, you gave me a piece of orange chicken. Now I'm buying the number 9. And now you got me all sucked in. Now I'm hooked. So I hope somebody else got a piece of orange chicken. They want to buy number 9.
Hey, ain't no shame in my game.
And everything else. But again, if you have not got your ticket for Make War, get your ticket today. Go to csteps.org. In the description of the show is the link to the website. You can go right now and get your ticket to Make War if you want to see Prophecy and hear more about how to make war against peace robbers. She will be there live in person giving away that workbook. So make sure you get your ticket. Again, we're only about halfway through the show. We're getting ready to go to a quick break. But when we return, you guys gave so much positive feedback for this guy. You guys were questioning. I got so many text messages like, please have him back on. Please. Hey, your wish is my command. When we come back after the quick break, we will be live on the air with my new good friend, Isaiah Goodman. We will be talking more money management. It's going down. We want to help you with your finances. So make sure you like, you share, you comment, you post. Because if you know somebody who's having some money issues, now is the time. This is the most important time for you to share, comment, post, and like, because what we will talk about will definitely change their life and maybe even change your life. You tired of people being in your pockets. You might want them to watch the show so they can get some money so they don't got to be in your pockets. Amen. So we will be back right after this short break with Isaiah Goodman.
We would like to take this time to acknowledge the brand that makes this all possible, C-Steps, in which C.L. Thompson is the founder and CEO of. Everyone deserves the chance to walk into a better future. Conquering Steps can make this possible for you because of the help of others. Conquering Steps life coaches offer an array of different type of coaching services. There are individual services, family services, and even corporation services. Our mission is to provide coaching, counseling, and consulting services to those who have been hurt, abused, neglected, unloved, or have gotten off track. We wish to help these individuals, families, or organizations to succeed through our services, sacrifices, healthy solutions, and partnerships. Your next step can change your world. Head over to csteps.org to make that next step. No contracts, no gimmicks, no worries. You pay a low membership rate and can cancel at any time. Again, that is csteps.org, or you can phone us in at 855-707-8377. That is 855-70-STEPS. Your next step can change your world.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Stepping Stones Live right here on Facebook Live, your social media show that brings, again, a little bit of silliness, seriousness, spirituality, all to your social media experience, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and rocking with us, man. What a first half of the show. Wow. I am on fire again for Make War. I cannot wait, but I know y'all are excited about Make War, but what's crazy is, as excited as you guys were for Make War, the guest that I had on last week, me and the producer John were talking. What a response that you guys had for this particular person. I just want you guys to know this guy, man, he knows his stuff, and he really helped a lot of you guys. And I know you might not be able to see me. We're having a little technical difficulties, but you can hear me. And so last week we talked about a lot of things about finances, and man, was I even blessed and encouraged to be able to just learn a few things myself, man. And I know how important it is to have your money right. And so he gave me one word that I really soaked in all this week, and that word was being content. Man, what a word. But without further ado, let me introduce to some, reintroduce to others, none other than Isaiah Goodman, CEO and founder of Becoming Financial. Isaiah, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Man, good morning, man. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. Doing great.
Man, you sound good. Wow, man, can I just tell you, last week, the response that we got for you on the show was incredible. I mean, simply incredible. So thank you. I hope some people even checked out your website, looked to see what you were doing, man. But the feedback was incredible. So thank you.
Good. Well, yeah, we hope to duplicate that today. You know, it's all about that progression and just that development and in our financial planning, right? So just keep growing.
Man, absolutely. So last week we were kind of a little bit sporadic and a little bit all over the place. Not necessarily. We stayed in the realm of finances and budgeting and things like that. The good thing is we plan on next week having you on for the entire show. And we're going to really be promoting and really be highlighting any questions that people may have. But this particular show, I wanted to focus on a few key areas and get your expertise on those areas. And, I wanted to talk to you about credit repair and, getting your credit right. For those who are listening, man, why is it important to have good credit? Some people, we know we should have good credit, but in depth, man, why is it important that we need to have good credit?
So it's kind of an interesting concept. The idea of credit, it comes about where, there's a number that they give you. And essentially that number is their trustworthiness of you paying them back. And when I say they, it's lending companies, credit cards, when you go purchasing a car or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to purchase a big ticket item, and the biggest things we usually purchase are things like a house or a car, we usually don't have all the money for that all at once, right? Especially things like a house. To have several $100,000, it probably is not going to happen. Right. So I think in terms of, my philosophy and where I try to help my clients get to is bigger things like that we do need credit for. But for the most part, week to week and month to month, we shouldn't need or use our credit cards. And that's kind of a foreign concept, right? Because most people, they have a credit card and it's almost like free money, where it's like, I have $1,000 limit. I can spend $1,000, but I don't have to pay it today. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why people want credit, is because they feel like it's this extension of time to where they don't have to pay things back today. Mm-hmm. So what I would say is, if you want to build your credit, build it for the bigger things that, like a car or a home, that you definitely might not be able to buy today. But if it's something like, a new pair of shoes or something that you could just save up a couple more weeks for, I would avoid that being your main goal for credit.
Yeah, and I think there's a misconception too. Well, I've heard this misconceptions. People nowadays, I think that so many people have bad credit or not so good credit. But now with bad credit or not so good credit, you you still can get some of those big ticket items, credit cards. Of course, you suffer the ramifications of high interest rates, which again, I think if you're not patient or content, you're fine with that. But I tell people all the time, if you had your interest money back, you'd probably be rich. What would you say would be the best way if your credit score is horrible to rebuild your credit? How do you rebuild your credit if your credit score is horrible? What would you say the best steps would be?
I'd say step number one is to start with your budget. So we talked a little bit about budgeting last week, right?
Okay.
But what I found is that really is the basis for almost everything, because we need to figure out how we can live within those means. Because if we're taking home $2,000 a month and we're spending $2,500, that's not going to work. Right? And so we got to start back at that budget and figure out, okay, if I've got this much coming in, here are my expenses, where can I cut expenses or reduce that? Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple different schools of thought on this, like a Dave Ramsey or a Susie Orman. But one of the things I really like about their trains of thought is to have some sort of savings on the side. So even if it's just $1,000, start with your budget, start with saving some money. And the reason we do that is so that we don't fall back to credit cards.
Okay.
So that would be the first step, is become a saver first. So work on your budget, work on your cash flow, and become a saver.
Okay.
And then we'll start to tackle your credit card debt or bad credit. And there's a couple strategies there. One of the first big ones is just become aware of where you're at. So going to things like, your annual credit report, Credit Karma, one of the places to where you can actually see what's listed, because a lot of times we actually don't even know what's on there. We just know we have bad credit and they don't give us stuff, right?
Right.
I've had clients who, they have the same name as their uncle, and unfortunately, the uncle's old credit is on my client's credit because they had the same name and somehow it got mixed.
Wow.
Or, clients who they did a joint account with a sibling or a parent or something like that, and kind of got stuck in that situation, but thought it was resolved on their end, right? Mm-hmm. So pulling that full credit report will show you any collections that you have outstanding, any unpaid debts, and any issues, like if there's, a foreclosure listed or an eviction, or some of those things can actually affect your credit. Mm-hmm. So I think becoming aware is really important. And then the next big step is having a game plan. So, if you know that you owe $5,000 on an old credit card and you do your budget and you can do $200 per month extra on top of that minimum payment, start to do that. One of the methods that, is pretty popular is called the debt snowball. And the reason that's pretty popular or easy is because you start with the lowest debt payment. Say that you owe $200 on some card, right?
Yep.
Well, if you can pay that off in a month or two, now you've kind of had this emotional reward of seeing something go to zero.
Right.
You take the payment from that card, combine it with the minimum of the next one or the next debt, and you pay that down until it gets to zero. And so then, hypothetically, your payments will get bigger and bigger as you attack the next biggest debt.
And I think the key with that, with the debt snowball, is that you don't see once you pay something off as extra income. Is kind of how Dave Ramsey teaches it. It's like, this is not extra. You've paid that off, but now you have something else to pay off. So take this additional money, so to speak, and use that to pay off the next thing, and then you constantly pay off.
Roll it over.
Yeah, you roll over. Yeah, it's like a rollover.
Yeah. So, the last thing I would say as far as building credit, though, is you still got to play their game. And it's a little bit tricky, because what I've seen is some clients will pay off all their debt. They'll have everything taken care of, and they still have a 5-something, 600-something credit score.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, if you don't have credit, you don't have credit.
Right.
And
right.
so getting things like a secured credit card, that's a really big step to building your credit. So you can go to most banks and say, hey, I want to do a secured card. And now you have to give them money up front. So this is why it's called secured.
Okay.
You put down, let's say, $500 or $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
They keep it in their vault. And now you get $1,000 credit limit. And from their perspective, there's no risk, because if you spend up the $1,000 and don't pay them back, they just take that $1,000 in cash that you gave them.
Right.
But if you spend the $1,000 and pay it back responsibly every month, you can actually show that you're good with credit. That'll build your credit. And then after a year, in some places are 18 months, you've done a good job. They'll say, hey, Isaiah, great work. Here's your $1,000 back. And now you have a unsecured credit card, and that'll boost your credit even more.
Yeah, and I think that's what people fail to realize. Like, and you can do it. It's easier to do it at your bank or your local branch. Just get that secured credit card. I've seen people with credit scores in the low 400s, and they put $250 down on a secured credit card, and now they have $5,000 credit limits because they, the only thing about the secured credit card is that you do pay interest on your own money, which is okay because it's usually not that much, but it shows that, okay, this person is responsible enough to do this. And the more you pay that off, the more you get. And so thank you for that, because I think having good credit is important. I don't think schools teach it enough. I don't think, still to this day, I remember, 18, as soon as I turned 18, credit card companies knew, like, man, give this guy credit cards, give this guy. That is not by accident, people, that they know that, okay, this person is 18, let's start to give them credit cards, and so they can go jack up their life and have to pay us back all this money, because eventually they're going to get theirs one way or another. And so, that is something to really be aware of. And so I would say, get your credit score up. The key word I think you said was awareness, having knowledge of what's on your credit score, because I've seen people who finally, when they looked at their credit score, there were things on there for like $17 that were taking their score, easily just pay the $17, and they're like, oh, this drops off my credit now, this is great. And some things it's just easy to pay off if you just have the awareness to pay it off. So I think that's vital and important. The next thing, man, I wanted to specifically deal with today, and I'm humble enough and open enough, I always say, let me get naked so people can take their clothes off too, is that I think it's important to have life insurance and retirement. And I personally plan on working with Isaiah myself. Being an entrepreneur and a business owner, I don't have the luxury of having a company to pay my 401k, to pay my life insurance, to have that. But I know those things are important. I'm a firm believer that I don't think you should die and nobody get paid. Most of the wealth in this country is what I call inherited wealth. Is that most of the rich people in this country, someone passed away and they obtained inherited wealth. And let me just really quickly talk to my African American listeners. It's a shame and it's unfortunate that typically when one passes away, we get a bill instead of a check. We pass away, and then we're trying to scramble up to pay funeral costs. We're doing GoFundMe pages because we didn't plan for our financial future. And so we still find ourselves in worse condition than we were. And so sometimes we can have bitterness, resentment, things like that. So I know the importance of having, a retirement plan, life insurance, things like that. In your opinion, why is it important that we need to have, those life insurance, those 401ks, especially for entrepreneurs too? Because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, who have businesses, but when their businesses go away, so does their residual income for the future.
Yes. Yeah. So I think our perspective is to view things on a timeline, right? And so one of the most important things we do when we look at life insurance is it's not just the $20,000 of funeral expenses. Now, I'll be, blunt and say we still need that. So if all you can afford is the very, very smallest policy to cover your end-of-life expenses, that will still be a blessing to your family, because what I found is if you have life insurance and there's something there to take care of those last minute expenses, now your family can actually miss you. They can actually grieve. Because what happened to me personally, my dad actually died 2 days before my wedding. No life insurance, no savings, no investments. And so if you think about that, like think about your wedding day, all the thoughts and things that are going into that. Now, Dad dies 2 days before. We had no time to grieve or miss him. We went into like scramble mode, right? Like we've got problems to solve. We've got money to raise. We've got to figure this out. And when it was all said and done, like a month and a half later is when it really hit me like, wow, I actually miss my dad. But I couldn't have that experience because I just had to fix stuff for a month. Wow. And so if you think about that, you pass away, you know, I think about me and my wife and kids. If something happens to me, I kind of joke around like, you got to pretend to be sad. Right? We got so much life insurance that, like, she's actually at this very moment, she's better off with me not being here than me being alive because it would so change our financial future, right? Yeah. And so why I say that in terms of how we look at things in time is what life insurance does is, of course, yes, it covers that immediate need, but the bigger thing is it replaces the time value of money. So think about it this way. If you earn $50,000 a year and you work for 20 years, how much money did you make, you know, gross? How much money did you make over that time?
It's a lot
of money. $1 million.
$20 million.
Yeah, $1 million. Yeah, so if you make $50,000 a year for 20 years, that's $1 million. So if you die in year 2, your family is missing $950,000 of your potential earned income of $1 million, right? And so that's where life insurance makes the bigger difference. Is yes, of course, we want to, you know, cover the expenses and allow our family to be sad, but what about 15 years from now when my kids are trying to go to college? Well, my income should have been there, right? And so that's the other big thing is thinking not just today if something happens, but 15, 20 years from now, what would have been there? And then the last thing, too, is that retirement standpoint, and this will kind of allow me to segue into retirement, is we teach that you should try to save 15 to 20% of your gross income. So somebody that was making $50,000 a year, if they were saving, you know, call it $8,000-$10,000 a year over the course of 20 years, they would have had several $100,000 saved up with compound interest.
Right.
Well, if you die in year 2 and you work with somebody like myself, a financial planner, they can take those proceeds and invest them and allow them to grow, and then that can be like the retirement fund for the family down the road.
And that makes
life insurance. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yep. So life insurance does more than just cover the things that we need today. It covers ourselves, you know, 15, 20 years from now. And then the immediate, you know, need is actually, it will balloon to cover those things that, like retirement, that we should have saved for. So that's why that's so important, man. Any other thoughts on life insurance before we transition to the retirement?
No, because there's so many different types of life insurance, and I don't want to get into all of them, but in your opinion, because there's term life insurance, what would you say would be the best type of life insurance policy to invest in?
Here's the funny thing again with that. Say I die tomorrow. Does my wife care what type it was?
Probably not. She just wanted to check.
Bingo. That's 100% it. It doesn't matter.
To be happy. I mean, she want to pretend to be sad.
She got to pretend to be sad. Yes, exactly. She's going to get a several $1 million check. She doesn't care what type it was. She's, you know, she's got to go through that experience of losing her husband, but there's going to be a lot of money there. So I think the most important type of life insurance is the one that you have, because I think people can get caught up in term, is it permanent, is it universal, whatever, and then they just never buy it.
Man, you took a burden off.
Number one.
You took a great burden off. When deciding on life insurance, like you said, it's so many different out there. I think you said it best. The most important one to have is to have one. Doesn't matter what kind, is to have one.
Just get something. Yep. And so, and there's tons of debate, but I can quickly get to the point with the types of life insurance. Term life insurance is temporary. That's why it has the name term. It has a time frame or a term in which it's covered. So think about it this way. Essentially, you're trading the risk of you passing away in that time frame for a check. Now, businesses wouldn't do anything unless there's a profit in there, right?
Right, exactly.
And so they know if you pay your $20-$30 a month for a couple $100,000 of coverage, the statistics show, based on age, weight, demographics, and things, that you probably won't die in that time frame.
Right.
It's something like 3 to 5% of term life insurance policies actually pay out because most people either don't die or most people cancel them eventually.
And then they just make all the policy that was canceled and all this money into it.
Bingo. Yep. So what the insurance company does is they take the premiums, they invest it, they make a profit. Depending on the type of company, they do some different things with the profits later.
Wow.
But it's not a bad thing to have. If you don't have life insurance and your budget's tight, go get term life insurance. Problem solved.
There you go.
Now, there's different pundits that say things like if you're going to get permanent or whole life insurance, to just buy term and invest the difference. So say that term life insurance costs $15 a month, whole life costs $100. Well, what they say is buy the term, take the $85 difference in what you would have put into the permanent or whole life, and go invest it in the stock market. You should have a better outcome, right? And that may actually be factually correct. It really depends on the years that you run the statistics, because if you did that in, say, 2000, the stock market dropped. If you did that in 2008, the stock market dropped, right? So it really depends on the time frame in which you invested. But the bottom line with permanent life insurance is, do you want coverage at the end of your life? So term life insurance can't provide that because it only goes for a certain number of years, either 20 years, 30 years, or the most that I've ever seen a term policy go is until somebody's age of 80. But the premiums increased every single year, so it got more expensive to hold that same old insurance. Whereas with permanent insurance, you can set your paying schedule, and it's more like a mortgage. So say that you pay permanent life insurance premiums for 20 years. Well, on that 21st year, you don't make any more payments, but the insurance is still there. And so there is a higher cost for it, but what I've found most of my clients really value is they know that no matter what, 25, 30, 40, 50 years from now, there's going to be coverage there for their family. And so that's where you start to get into the idea of leaving a legacy, right? It's if I die tomorrow, it doesn't matter what type I have, but if I hopefully live a long life and I die when I'm 80, 90, 100 years old, well, then I have to have permanent at that point because term doesn't go that long.
Wow. And so I think that's important. Like I said, I think it's irresponsible. I think it's even illogical that you die and nobody gets paid. Be set back financially because of a death, and it became a burden even more than the loss of that particular loved one. So I think that's just vital to have some type of life insurance, some type of retirement plan. I think we have to get out of the in the moment thinking when it comes to our finances. I think we make impulse decisions. I think we think right now. I think we don't forecast financially, and all of those things compound us to being in a very bad position financially in the future. And we continue to live check to check, or we rob Peter to pay Paul, and we don't have a future. We can't go to the sandy beaches because we just don't have it, and things like that. And we end up in a worse decision. So thank you again. In the description, let the people know that are listening, if they are in need of some type of counsel, advice, how they can reach you. Tell them what's the company. I know the name, but let the listeners know the company.
Yes, no problem. It's Becoming Financial. So check us out on becomingfinancial.com. I'll put all of our contact info, phone number, email, and stuff in there. And would love to chat with anybody about this, financial planning with insurance, investments, college planning, the whole nine.
Yeah, and on top of that, I can't say this enough. This Saturday in the house will be Isaiah Goodman. So if you want to meet him in person, shake hands and hug babies type of deal, he will be at the Make War event. And I'm going to also give a teaser, just a shameless plug. Next month, February the 17th, will be the Make War for Love event. That will be happening at the 508 Bar, Restaurant, and Lounge. And that is designed to help people make war against divorce. And already agreed, keynote speaker when it comes to finances in your relationship will be Isaiah Goodman. So if you can't make it to Make War kickoff event, February the 17th, he will be teaching and speaking on the importance of finances in your relationship. Man, I cannot wait for that. Thank you again, man, for being on the show. I'm excited for next week, man, because we'll have you for the entire whole 1 hour, or at least 45 minutes of the show, that is, to answer all the questions that come in. We'll be able to talk post-Make War. So next week is going to be an amazing show. Man, I'm looking forward, man, to shaking your hand on Saturday myself, and meeting your wonderful wife and kids who are going to be there. It's going to be a good time. And thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I'm excited for next week. We'll get a little bit more into retirement and the rest of financial planning and answer some questions for people.
Absolutely, man. Well, you have a wonderful, man, rest of your day, and we'll see each other on Saturday.
All right. Take care. See you soon.
Yes, sir. Man. Well, man, I hope everybody has been blessed by the show, man. I know I've been blessed already, man, by prophecy and by Isaiah, and by the content of the show, man. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to get off the show. I love when I get off the show, I actually hop into the comments and see the comments and the shares. Don't forget, by commenting on the show, you actually enter yourself in an opportunity to win one of our Visa gift cards. And congratulations to Liz Dabbs, who was our winner last month. We cannot wait to announce the winner this month. So many people, you guys have increased this show so much, so thank you. But again, I never end this show without saying, if you've never done anything, I encourage you, I implore you, I beg you to give Jesus a chance in your life. I had the privilege of preaching this particular Sunday at my church, the Father's House, and I had one simple question. That question was, how bad do you want him? And I'm asking that question again today. How bad do you want him? So I ask you, do you really want Jesus? If so, take a step towards him by saying, Jesus, I believe you're the Son of God. I believe you died on the cross, and I believe God has raised you from the dead. Hey, take that step today. Man, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure, but I never like to end the show without saying this. Man, your next step can change your world, but a step towards Jesus can change your life. So make sure you tune in next week. I want to see you this Saturday at the Make War event. It's going down 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please come. Please be a part of the year kickoff event. But until the next time, man, be blessed and stay encouraged. I'm out of here.